नमस्सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतं कक्ष्यायां। तो अद्य नवमपाठस्य द्वितीय कक्ष्यायां प्रवेशः। गतवासरान्ते किञ्चित् वा पठितम् अस्माभिः। इदानीम् अग्रे सरामः। अस्माभिः किं पठितं प्रार्थनया प्रारम्भं करोमि। प्रप्रथमं गुरुप्रार्थना स्यात् सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। अस्तु, तो अस्माभिः तुमुन् प्रत्ययस्य ज्ञानं किञ्चित् वा प्राप्तम्। कुत्र भवति तुमुन् इत्यस्य? एकां क्रियां कर्तुम् अन्यक्रियां यदा करोमि, अग्रे भविष्यत्काले किमपि करणीयमस्ति, तस्य कारणात्, तस्य भविष्यत्कालीन कार्यकारणात् इदानीं किमपि करोमि, अथवा श्वः किमपि करोमि, अथवा ह्यः किमपि कृतं मया, तत् स्यात्। तदा तुमुन् प्रयोगः क्रियते अस्माभिः। कथं? श्वः मया पठितव्यम् अस्ति, श्वः अहं पाठं पठिष्यामि। तु तर्हि तत् कर्तुं, पठनक्रियां कर्तुम् अहं शालां गमिष्यामि इति चिन्तयतु। गृहे न पठामि, शालां गत्वा पठामि। तर्हि एवं वक्तव्यं, पठितुं शालां गमिष्यामि। श्वः पाठं पठितुं, पुस्तकं पठितुं शालां गमिष्यामि। अथवा सर्वं भूतकाले स्यात्। अहं ह्यः भोजनं कर्तुं भोजनालयं गतवान्। भोजनं कर्तुं तुमुन् भोजनालयं गतवान् आसीत्। अहं कार्यं कर्तुं प्रभवामि। I begin to do some work. Okay. Prabhavami, I initiate the stuff, like that sense. Okay. So the pra upasarga with bhu dhatu. So this kind of application where for something else I do one action, for some other action I do one action, that some other action for the which is the reason for which this current action let me not say current action, the active action is being carried out, is put in tumun. Okay. Aham patitum gacchami. Aham saha drashtum agachat. See, past tense. Saha drashtum agachat. He went to see. So sa gantum ichchati. Okay. Ikshati. I mean, I don't know how to say future tense of icha. It's been missing in my mind right now. Yeah, so that's what. Okay, so that kind of sense. So we learned some variety forms: nayati netum, pachati paktum, namati nantum, gayati gatum, pashyati drashtum, likhati likhitum, gacchati gantum, milati melitum, pruchati prashtum. See, pra. Remember, pruchati prashtum, pibati patum, tishtati sthatum. Complete change of dhatu form. Tisht stha. The dhatu is actually stha. Okay. Yachati dhatum. Okay. Dane. The yachati is the transformed version of the dhatu. So okay. So actually there are two different dhatus with a similar color also. Anyway, don't worry. So what is the important thing about these tumunantas? So we have to read them as in order to take, in order to cook, like that. Okay. And the other important thing is it is an avyaya pada. So it is, though it is having kriya vachakatva, it is a namapada, but an avyaya namapada, in order to go, netum. Okay. So it doesn't actually anymore, it is not a tinganta anymore. Only tingantas qualify as kriyapadas. Okay. Since it has become a kridanta, and the type of krit pratyaya that it uses is called tumun, from which tum is the pratyaya that is heard. Okay. So the rest are technical letters. So tumun, tum. All right. So that's what we learned. So having learned tumun, next one more kridanta to learn. Okay. So I am giving the little secret away. This kridanta pratyaya is called lyut pratyaya, and the word that is having lyut in the end is called lyudantam. So lyudantam is the name for the noun which is having lyut ending. It's noun, but it is from you can say it is a kind of infinitive form of a verb also. Okay, so because some dhatu is embedded there. All right, so let us study the following sentences. So let me choose a volunteer to help us. Huh. Ruchita Jadhav Varye. Ruchita Jadhav. Yeah, if you can read us the first 6-7 sentences slowly. Yeah.
Yes. Study the following sentences. बालकः अध्ययनं करोति. A boy is studying.
Mm,
मुनिः उपदेशं करोति. A sage gives advice.
mm,
विक्रयिकः विक्रयणं करोति. A seller sells. पाचकः पाकं करोति. A cook cooks. चोराः पलायनं कृतवन्तः. Thieves ran away. सः शयनं कृतवान्. He slept.
Thanks, Bhagini. Just we'll take a pause there, break. Anyway, you can mute and rest because I'll invite someone else to continue the rest of the reading little later. But let's summarize what we are seeing here, which Bhagini has read for us. So everywhere, if you see the active if Kriya Pada, where explicitly there is a Tinganta, is Kru Dhatu. Where it is not explicitly a Kriya Pada, like Kritavantaha, though it's a Kridanta, but Kru Dhatu is embedded in that, in the Bhuta Kridanta Kta form. Okay, so Kritavan is Ktavatu, Kritavantaha. Oh, actually it is Ktavatu only Bahuvachana, Kritavan, Kritavantau, Kritavantaha. So couple of Kridanta forms of the active verb, and with the Adhyahrita, Asan, Asit to be added, of course. Okay. All right. So then for the others, we are simply saying karoti, karoti, karoti. So this is called a Ludanta technique of using other kriyas. Okay. This is a Ludanta technique, this Ludanta technique of using other kriyas. For example, balakaha adhite is the latlakara form of the adhyayana thing. Okay. We could have said balakaha adhite. It's an atmanepadi dhatu. Okay. So, but you can bring in such complex dhatus rather than trying to, for example, remember is it Atmanepadi, Parasmaipadi, how does it decline, etc. If you have perfectly learned how to decline Kri dhatu to its metrics, then this becomes a good escape route. Okay, and also a color variation. Every time you should not do this. If you know how to decline the original dhatu, that is better and compact way of doing it, because this is more elaborate. See, balakaha adhite is so compact, boy studies is so compact compared to balakaha adhyayanam karoti, which is the boy studying he does. Okay, that is the literal translation there. Okay, so this is called the infinitive Ludanta forms of the same dhatus that normally can be declined otherwise. So adhyayanam karoti atava adhite. Okay, so this pairing is very useful when we need to simplify the forms of certain complex dhatus. We can take refuge in the Ludanta of that dhatu and then use the Kru dhatu. Like I said, it should not become too common a practice. It's a good escape for complex dhatus. Okay, so that's what we are seeing. So upadishati becomes upadesham karoti, dish dhatu, to give direction, something like that. Then vikrayanam karoti, krayana. So the cry or some dhatu, kri or cry, some dhatu like that. So selling, selling he does. Then pakam karoti, cooking he does, pachakaha. Okay, so pachati, which we know very easy. Pachakaha pachati is enough, but pakam karoti is another way. Okay, choraha palayanam krutavantaha, they ran away. So ayana. Okay, I palayate. So yeah, the dhatu is pal or something like that. So palayate is the original Atmanepadi form. Choraha palayante could have been the thing, but here palayanam krutavantaha is an alternative. Similarly, shete, saha shete, okay, becomes shayanam krutavan, okay, or shetes ashayata, something like that, okay, in the lung. So that becomes shayanam kritavan. See now, just by taking kru dhatu to its past tense forms, we can take that infinitive action to the past tense also. So this is a kind of a good what you call bypass surgery for simplifying for a while until we start learning deeper and deeper about more dhatu forms. Okay, it's a bridging technique. Let's call it that. Okay, it's not a elegant solution in proud level. It's a good solution in our balya level where we are at this moment. So let's invite Milind Badkundri Varya.
Yes, sir.
If you're not traveling today, no?
No, sir, I am back.
Number 7 onwards is yours, sir.
Okay. That Khaditam, right, sir?
Janaha
uh,
Sammananam.
Janaha Sammananam Krutavantaha. People honored him or her.
Hmm.
Sevika Sammarjanam Karoti. A maid servant sweeps. Dharmikaha Sevam Karoti. A religious person serves. Saha Utpreksham Karoti. He exaggerates. Sa upayogam karoti. She uses. Graminaha sanchayam karoti. A villager saves.
Hmm.
Eshaha bhojanam karoti. This person, masculine, has a meal.
Excellent. So the same thing they have extended to few more usages. Sammananam kritavantaha. Sammana is to provide good respect. Mana is respect. No? So sammana is samyak kritam manam. So sammananam kritavantaha. Okay. Sammarjanam karoti. Marjanam means to clean. So sammarjana again samyak is upasarga sam. So sammarjanam karoti. Sevam. So you can use upasargas everywhere. Okay. It need not be the original. For example, V upasarga is there in Vikrayana. Okay. So like that. So some in these two. Sevam karoti. So sevate or something like that is the form. So sevam karoti. So then utpreksham karoti. Utpreksha means ut is the upasarga for up. Preksha pra is another upasarga towards. Iksha means observing, something like that. So utpreksha literally means up and focused oversight. Okay, or iksha means anticipate also sense is there. So like that, right? So that means this with these two upasargas, it has taken on a larger meaning like exaggeration to talk well above the reality. Okay, is taken in that sense. So exaggeration. So saha utpreksham karoti. The sa upayogam karoti. Upa is the upasarga and yuj dhatu, something like that. Okay, so upayogam karoti. So sanchayam karoti. Then bhojanam karoti. Sanchayam, see, collection. Okay, bhojanam is the act of eating. Okay, all right. So bhunkte or something like that is the dhatu form. So usually, if you go behind these dhatus and try to understand the declension, later and later, Samskrita Bharati will use those which are actually difficult to remember. Okay, upayunkte, bhunkte, utprekshate, something like that. Okay, I am also not 100% confident I am saying the right things, but we could learn and use those forms if required. Okay, the couple of more examples are there. I'll read them off. Krishikaha sangraham karoti, adhyapakaha bartsanam karoti. Bhartsanam is also used in the sense of frying. I don't know whether it is a side usage is to scold. I will check that out. Anyway, it's interesting. Okay, Sangraha we know is similar to Sanchaya. Okay, Sangraha is collect, Sanchaya is a little bit having the sense of
Namo
saying.
Namo.
Yes, Varya, is there a question? Oh.
I just wished you Namo Namo Mother.
Namaste Varya, Swagatam. Krishikah Sangraham Karoti, so he collects the grains for the sale or something like that. Dhyapakah Bhartsanam Karoti, not an ideal situation, but that's what is happening here. In all the sentences above, the verb is split up into two words as Adhyayanam Karoti, Upadesham Karoti, Vikrayanam Karoti, using the common verb Karoti. Of course, not everywhere the same karoti is there. You can see there are some krudanta variants also thrown in to just explain that there is possibility of more than just karoti there. As usual, if karoti can be replaced with kritavan, kritavati, etc. in the past tense form, that's fine. We can use a single verbal form instead of the above. Okay, they have given a few examples here. You see, adhyayanam karoti, adhite, upadesham karoti, upadishati, vikrayanam karoti, vikrinite. See, vikrayate, no, vikrinite. See, so a little bit, yeah. So both the expressions mean the same. Okay, but the formation of the sentence is slightly different. That's what they're highlighting. Okay, so उदाहरणार्थं आ टेबल कॉलम टाइटल बालकः पुस्तकम् अधीते बालकः पुस्तकस्य अध्ययनं करोति. What they did in this sentence apart from the above, see the above it was simply the karta, the kriya and the lyudanta, right? There was no further attachment of other words to the lyudanta kriya. Okay, the kriya vachaka in lyudanta was not having other association other than karta, but in this they have brought in some other association. So for example, adhyayanam karoti, balakaha adhyayanam karoti. So kasya adhyayanam karoti, of what adhyayana he does? Is he doing PhD? Is he reading a book? What is he doing exactly? So that's when you bring other words to explain. The way we bring that word varies with Ludanta. That's why they are showing that technique here. Okay, so balakaha pustakam adite, the for the adite kriyapada, pustakam was straightforward karma pada in dvitiya vibhakti. Pustakam adite, like that. Okay, it's an apumsaka shabda, but it is in dvitiya in this sentence. Balakah pustakam adite. That will switch to shashti vibhakti, you will see. So study of something. So because of that of, the same way that we use in our other languages, including English, study of a book. So of a book becomes pustakasya. Okay, shashti ekavachana. So balakah pustakasya adhyayanam karoti. You cannot say balakah pustakam adhyayanam karoti. You cannot say that, though you're tempted to go like that. So that is why adhite and adhyayanam karoti are not 100% equivalent. That's what they're highlighting here. Be careful. You cannot just literally replace adhite with adhyayanam karoti and go on and on in the rest of the sentence in the same way as if you're treating the association with adhite. The relationship somewhat change, especially for this karma pada, pustakasya adhyayanam karoti, like that. Okay. Other nouns, for example, some karana karaka may not change its vibhakti. For example, chakshusha pustakasya adhyayanam karoti, like that, with the eye. Yeah, what else they will read? Okay, anyway, sometimes we have audio, I guess. So munihi satyam upadishati, munihi satyasya upadesham karoti. Okay, satyam upadishati, satyasya upadesham karoti. विक्रयिकः फलं विक्रीणीते, विक्रयिकः फलस्य विक्रयणं करोति. Okay, it can be in bahuvachana also, of course. Phalanam vikrayanam karoti. Why will you send one fruit? Same way here. Phalana, phalan, phalam, pale, phalani. So vikrayikah phalani vikrinite. Would become phalanam vikrayanam karoti. So yeah, the Ludanta brings more changes to the associated karma pada because it becomes a action related to that. Now Karma pada becomes a possessor of the action in a sense. Huh? So it's kind of karmani sense there, you see. Okay. Study the sentences in a and a column above. We have done that. In the a column, the object of the sentence governs the accusative case, pustakam, satyam, phalam, etc. The same object is in genitive or shashti case in a column like pustakasya, satyasya, phalasya. Correct. You must know that when a single verbal form is used, what is this single verbal form? That is that adhite, like lakara form. Okay. They are now calling it single verbal form because just now we learnt of the split way of doing it, right? Adhyanam karoti way. Okay. So it's not a very grammatical title. It's just a reference to what we just learned. Single verbal form is used. Verbal form refers clearly to lakara. The object governs the accusative case, and when the verb is split up as karoti, as something something karoti, they didn't state that, it governs the genitive case. So the object governs the, I mean, it takes the genitive case. I don't much appreciate all this governs business, but anyway, it takes the genitive case in our simple English. To understand better, comma, to understand better, it's not like a teacher saying you better study like that. No. To understand better, study the following pairs of sentences with accusative and genitive cases. Okay, accusative case for object, genitive case for object. So few more examples they have given. So let us take help of Geeta Nair Varye. You can participate.
Yes, Namo Namaha.
Ha, Bhagini. Bhagini, you get the for this part, rest of this column, that is 1 through 8 example. Please slowly
Okay.
read both the accusative case, genitive case slowly and keep going slowly like that. Let's listen, everybody. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Kapihi vanam nashayati. Kapihi vanasya nashanam karoti.
Just pause. So if you notice,
Okay.
these examples are brilliant because now they are giving us two teachings. They are teaching us how the normal lakara form is along, and then how the ludanta breakup happens. So because they have not just given only ludanta examples, they have given the corresponding kriya version also, right? So that is one use for us. So nashayati nashanam karoti, prashamsanti prashamsam kurvanti. Of course,
Shamsan.
prashamsati prashamsam karoti, something like that. Okay. But in addition to that, the karma pada handling is also shown everywhere. Vanam, vanasya, sajjanan, sajjananam, like that. So it's very useful exercise, this double column reading. Continue, Bhagini.
Okay. Janaha sajjanan prashamsanti. Janaha sajjananam prashamsam kurvanti. Next one. Parikshakaha gunam parikshate. Parikshakaha gunasya pariksham karoti.
So here parikshakaha means examiner. So he tests the quality. That guna is in the sense of quality we have to take. Qualities examination he does is this form. Okay, little bit passive is there. You see that gunasya pariksham is like a passive representation, right? Okay, continue.
Karyashilaha sadhanam upayukte.
Upayunkte. See, ka, kha, ga, ga, nga. So,
Upayunkte.
upayunkte. So, what all is
Upayung.
there? Nga is there, ka
Upayunkte.
is there, ta is
Ka
there,
is there.
ye is there. Okay? Quite a few
Okay, okay.
letters. Nga, ka, ta, e. Ngte. Okay? Upayunkte.
Okay.
Again, you read it.
Karyashilaha
Again, you read.
sadhanam. Yeah. Karyashilaha sadhanam upayunkte. Karyashilaha sadhanasya upayogam karoti. अध्यापकः व्याकरणम् अध्यापयति. अध्यापकः व्याकरणस्य अध्यापनं करोति.
See, adhyapayati, difference, sorry, Bhagini. Adhyapayati and adhite, which we saw somewhere earlier also, I think. The difference is, adhite means somebody reads, somebody studies on his own. Adhyapayati is called the nijanta form. So he teaches. Okay, the same adhite, the dhatu that is there in that, has taken this transferred meaning of teaching. Okay, adhyapayati.
Saha dwaram pidadhati. Saha dwarasya pidhanam karoti.
He opens the door. He does the opening of the door. So now here one more thing about adhite and adhya. See, adhyayanam is the lyudanta of adhite. Okay, whereas the lyudanta of adhyapayati is adhyapanam. So adhyayanam versus adhyapanam. So you notice that so you need not be just a dhatu and lyudanta. It can be dhatu and that transferred sense of nich pratyaya we call it, and then the lyudanta. So it's powerful that way. Okay, continue, Bhagini.
Nirdhanaha dhanam sanchinoti. Nirdhanaha dhanasya sanchayam karoti. Sa veenam abhyasyati. Sa veenayam abhyasam karoti.
Veenayaha.
Sa veenayaha abhyasam karoti.
Karoti. Excellent. Thanks, Bhagini. Well read. So you guys, I think the sentences were very straightforward, so I didn't translate everything. So it's all the words are there in Laukika Bhasha of ours also. Prashamsa, Pariksha, Upayoga, all this we know. So I didn't go on and on explaining everything. So where there is doubt, one of you doesn't understand something, please jump in and ask what exactly it means. I'm not able to catch it. No problem. We will go into analysis of all that. So let me call upon Rekha Varye. Rekha Varye. Come on, Bagini, participate. No. Okay. Great. So Rekha Varye, you get sentences from 9 through 15 to read.
कर्मकरः सस्यं सिञ्चति. कर्मकरः सस्यस्य सेचनं करोति.
See, sinch means to sprinkle water. Okay, water is implicit there. It generally means to sprinkle. So, or to little bit like pour lightly, that kind of thing. Okay, sechana is something we know for most mother tongues do have this word, right? So there is a derivative sekatta hai, something like that in Hindi also, I think. Okay, so which is to alleviate thirst. That is also a good sense of the same dhatu. Continue, Bhagini.
नायकः जनान् प्रोत्साहयति. नायकः जनानां प्रोत्साहनं करोति.
Nowadays it is not protsaha. Nowadays they do prachodana. So this one is good old days. Okay, continue, Bhagini.
सभ्यः वादनम् उपस्थायति.
Vadanam na.
वादं. सभ्यः वादम् उपस्थायति.
Upasthapayati.
उपस्थापयति. सभ्यः वादस्य उपस्थापनं करोति.
Karoti. Good. So vada is argument. So vada as a karma, that is an argument. Upasthapana means to keep, right? To establish something. Upasthapana means to also establish that upa is giving the sense of placing it on the forum first. Okay, so that upa is in the sense of placing it first. That's that sense. So sabhyah vadam upasthapayati. Prasthapa also is a similar sense is there. Okay, so upasthapayati. So he places the argument. So of the argument, the placement he does. So the focus shifts from vadam as karma to the upasthanam sthapanam almost as the karma of the krudhatu. Okay, so the ludanta is somewhat like the karma pada of the active kriya, little bit. Kim karoti upasthapanam karoti, like that. Okay, kasya upasthapanam vadasya upastharam kah sabhyah. Sabhya means one who is in the sabha. Generally today in the world we take sabhya means one who is gentlemanly, etc. There a general expectation in the olden days was the only gentleman will enter the sabha. Continue, Bhagini.
आपणिकः पुस्तकं विक्रीणीते
Bhagini, slowly, just exactly read what is there. Be very careful.
विक्रीणीते
Hmm.
आपणिकः पुस्तकस्य विक्रयणं करोति
Okay.
छात्रः नियमम् उल्लङ्घते
Very good.
छात्रः नियमस्य उल्लङ्घनं करोति
Correct. Ullanghanam. See, ut plus langha. Okay. Langha is jump. Okay. Ut is up. Up jump. Okay. Up jumps. Okay. What does up jumps in Samskrita means? Means he skips. Okay. Very, very. You cannot have more explicit use of the dhatu to give a meaning than in Sanskritam. So up jumps means he skips. Okay. So there's no need to discover some new word like skip. Use up jump. That's the beauty of Sanskritam. Okay. So he up jumps. So that same thing becomes off the rule up jumping he does. Okay. So that's the transformation there. Of course, up jump means to exceed and do something not normally directed. You are supposed to follow the niyama, not jump over it. Continue, Bhagini.
दुष्टः सज्जनं विञ्चयते दुष्टः सज्जनं वञ्चयते
Vanchayate.
दुष्टः सज्जनस्य वञ्चनां करोति
Karoti. So a bad fellow of a good fellow, cheating he does. So vanchana, cheating. Okay. Vanchayate, cheats. Vanchana, the act of cheating. Infinitive. Okay. Ludanta, as we call them. Okay. Continue.
गृहस्थः अतिथिम् अनुरुण रुणन् अनुरुणन्धति
No, you are reading what is all not there. Slowly.
अनुरुण ऋण
Dhi. Anurunadhi. That's all. The I. So anurunadhi. Okay. Grihastha atitim anurunadhi. Okay. So this anurunadhi is in the sense of agraha karana. Like, ए भगवान नहीं चाहिए, अब खाके जाइए, आप आए हैं, ऐसा ही नहीं जाइएगा, बहुत बढ़िया खाना बनाए हैं, हमने खाए के जाइए. That is that anurodha. Okay, that's easier understood as anurodha, no? All of our language. So these infinitives are there. All our mother tongues carry the infinitive forms. That's why Samskrita Bharati is teaching you from the known come to the unknown. Anurunadhi, we will never, I mean, you see, Bhagini was struggling to even pronounce it, right? But Anurodha, oh, we know. Anurodham karoti, no problem. Because that's how we use in Kannada also. Anurodhavannu maduttare, like that. We switch karoti to maduttare, that's all. Mado business. Madi business. So, Grihasthanu Atitiya Anurodhavannu maduttane. What is Kannada there? Maduttane. Everything is a little bit Sanskritam with some Kannada pratyaya. Okay? Grihasthanu, our pratyaya. Atitiya, our pratyaya. Shashti. Anurodhavannu, our pratyaya. Anurodha. We don't even say annu, karma position annu anymore also in Kannada. Then maduttare. So same way. Grihasthane, atiti ka, anurodhko, karta hai. Okay, so you can see the copycat of Sanskritam in all our mother tongues. Only we have to notice it and accept it. Okay. Thank you, Bhagini. Well read. Good practice. Thanks for jumping in. Now, a step ahead. Examine the sentences with genitive case. Here, the words like nashanam, adhyapanam, sechanam, upasthapanam, etc. are used. All these are bhavadyotaka words. So they indicate the bhava of the kriya. Dyotana means to indicate. Okay. Dyotaka means that which indicates. is a type of pratyaya of Sanskritam. Okay, so bhavadyotaka means that which indicates the sense of the kriya. Sense of the kriya is bhava. Okay, so bhavadyotaka words that convey the action, destruction, teaching, etc. as we use in English. Destroys becomes destruction, teaches becomes teaching. Okay, like that. Some English doesn't have a very consistent. You can see one is kshan, other is ying and pung, lung, whatever may come in English. We don't care. But there is very consistent behavior in Sanskritam. Anam is the form that comes. Okay, that anam is a substitute for the lut. Okay, there is a Paninian formula. Why he uses lut and why not anam pratyaya, I don't know. Okay, why he couldn't have just carried on calling it anam pratyaya and we could have learnt it that way, but he calls it lut pratyaya and say lut anam something in some sutra. Maybe he was in a happy mood to compose one more sutra. He did that. Okay, all right. So such words govern the genitive case for the karma pada. So when we use the infinitive, we have to use the genitive for the original karma. Pustakasya adhyayanam, grantasya patanam, dvarasya pidhanam, pathasya smaranam. Smaranam is remembering for oneself. Smaranam, the growth version, is for making somebody else remember. Reminding is smaranam. Okay, smarayati versus smarate, smarati. Okay, then dhanasya sanchayah, smaryate. I think it's an atmanepadi, but in the niche it becomes parasmay. Gunasya pariksha. So gunam parikshate, something like that becomes gunasya pariksha. Okay, so what are we studying? Lut, which becomes ana pratyaya technically. Bhavavachaka kridanta pratyaya, it is called patu plus ana, pathana comes. Normally napumsake bhavati pathanam iti. Again, it can take additional declensions. Okay, though we dominantly use it in the prathama ekavachana form. Patanaya, patanena, this kind of variations you will see. Patanaya gamishyami, for the sake of reading I will go. So patanam has taken patanaya. Okay, so it is not an avyaya, it is an napumsaka shabda. Remember that. Okay, sometimes because we just learned tumun is an avyaya, tvanta is an avyaya, lyabanta is an avyaya. So tvanta avyaya, lebanta avyaya, tumuna avyaya, then we think ludanta avyaya. No, ludanta is an napumsaka form normally and takes declensions. Okay, so you can further use it in a richer way than just patanam. Any questions so far from the learnings? My students really don't need much encouragement to ask
Sir,
questions.
one question here.
Yes, Varya.
That twanta and all you said, no? That twanta means twa anta. The word ends with twa,
Correct.
krutva and all that.
Hmm.
So this, when you say this krudanta and all the other things, I mean, what does it end with? I mean, I'm a little confused about that.
See,
Krudanta and
kridanta is a generic title to hundreds of pratyayas. Okay. And why it is called kridanta is because it works on the dhatus to transform, right? So they are generally titled as kridantas by the grammarians. Then there are hundreds of kridantas and we are studying them one by one. So we studied Ktavatu earlier, maybe Kta, I don't know how whether we were introduced, but yeah, Ktavatu at least we were introduced. Okay, but we have seen a lot of Kta Pratyaya here and there. I have talked about it. Then we saw, Tvanta, Lyabanta one by one, Tumunanta we saw. Today we are seeing Lyudanta. So all this Tvant, and what is this Anta business? Anta business is generally the title given to the word that takes the ending. Okay. Lyudantam is that which is taking lut anta. Okay. So, but we also use this in a sense of lyudanta pratyaya like that. Instead of lut pratyaya, we say sometimes we go far and say lyudanta pratyaya. No problem. That which is the ending for making a lyudanta, so lyudanta pratyaya. Okay.
Okay.
And
So
these
what
are
does
all
lute mean, sir?
belonging to the class krit pratyayas. Yeah.
Lute means it has some meaning, is it? Lute.
No. It is just a technical title. Okay. it has a meaning. It is not meaningless. What lyut means is making the bhava dyotaka sense to the dhatu is lyud process. Okay.
Okay. So
So
sometimes it
when
is
I say
actually the
lyut,
word.
immediately I know I'm transforming a dhatu to its bhava dyotaka form. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So sometimes it is like twanta is like use the twa only as the anta,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this lut is like it is giving the meaning of what you are transforming it
No,
to.
no. What happens? He uses a variable name that doesn't contribute directly to the pratyaya form. He
Ah,
uses another sutra to say for lyut use ana like that.
okay, okay.
Okay. Actual pratyaya is ana.
Hmm.
Everywhere we saw ana, no problem. Huh? So we see nashanam, prashamsam. See, if you see everywhere, it is not completely ana. See, prashamsanam karoti should have. I don't know why prashamsam karoti they have gone. I don't know whether that is actually an oversight. Prashamsanam karoti should have been. Okay.
Hmm.
They have used a different Kridanta form there. Parikshanam karoti. So I have to myself check with some more expert with grammarians. Is Prashamsam also a Ludanta or it is an Apabramsha oversight? It is some other form that has been brought in which is also Bhavat Dyotaka. Okay. There are 110 Kridantas, so maybe there are a few other forms that are Bhavat Dyotaka. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I answered you. I went a little bit away also. Anyway. I happened that the example I took didn't have Anna, so I got stumped there, right there. So some student has already not opened their mouth and asked, "What is that?" There is no Anna there. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay. So let us see some beautiful examples here of Anantaram and Purvam. Okay. So why Samskrita Bharati has not jumped into this is these Bhavadyotaka words that we just learned are very handy when used with this Anantaram, Purvam, etc. So that's why they brought in those kinds of examples also for us in a very convenient way for us to gather the reason for the infinitive, not just to simplify our life, but actually it is useful in such places where you need to link up one action's completion before the other action, etc., or to before or after that sense. Okay. So Saha. Oh, okay, let me read it. Here, the Karmapada and the Bhavadyotaka word get the Shashti Vibhakti when Anantaram is used. So both the Karma and the Bhavadyotaka take Shashti. So interesting, right? So that's why Napumsaka, it is like not a indeclinable, is very clear now. Okay. So in case of Purvam, the Karmapada gets Shashti and the Bhavadyotaka gets Panchami. Wow. Then, okay, then the action, other action, that sense. So very nice. Interesting to see the examples rather than keep looking at the technical explanation. Saha pust okay, I think I will read this portion. Okay. Saha pustakasya pathanasya anantaram snanam karoti. So Saha patitva snanam karoti could have been the easy way. Actually, that's what I just put it here. So we already learned the cheaper technique called Tvanta and Lyabanta, of course, if there is an Upasarga. So, Saha Pustakam Patitva Snati. Very easy. Okay. But here, a little bit enforced uses of Ludantas happened. Patanam and Snanam has been used. Two Ludantas have been used in this sentence. The second Ludanta Snanam is in the form we just learned. Snanam Karoti. No problem. We learnt a lot of that instead of Snati. But before that, another action was completed like reading. So you can go instead of patitva, you can go pustakam patitva, you can go pustakasya pathanasya anantaram snanam karoti. Ludantas can extend themselves this way to convey the tvanta sense with anantaram. And similarly, purvam also can be used. That is a uh, also you can bring tvanta by reordering the kriya pada there, or tumun you can bring, right? Kartum tat karoti, like that. So but here there is a sense of purvam, that means he does this and then does that, slightly difference than tumun. Okay, anyway, let us see the examples. So first one, saha pustakasya pathanasya anantaram snanam karoti, saha granthasya parishilanasya anantaram shete. See here they did not use infinitive shayanam karoti. This is just showing, I mean, they're not forcing themselves everywhere. So saha grantam parishilya shete. So lyabanta. Okay, pari upasarga is there. So lyabanta. So ग्रंथस्य परिशीलनस्य अनंतरम शेते. सो यू सी इन हिंदी वो ग्रंथ का परिशीलना के बाद निद्रा करती है. सो परिशीलना के बाद, सी अगेन षष्ठी इन हिंदी, इन सेम थिंग इन कन्नಡ. ಅವನು ಗ್ರಂಥದ ಪರಿಶೀಲನೆಯ ಅನಂತರ ಮಲಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. So same, if you notice carefully, look back to your mother tongue, what vibhakti you are using. Unfortunately, most of us who know our mother tongues may not know it grammatically. We may know it as a spoken language. But now, having seen the vibhaktis, etc., if you reapply it to your mother tongues, you will see there is a shashti sense to how we use it. Okay, in Kannada or Hindi. So Samskrita is very close to that, or we are very close to Samskrita. So ग्रन्थं परिशील्य शेते. सा देवस्य पूजनात् पूर्वं स्नाति. सा स्नात्वा देवं पूजयति. So here see I switched the order to use, continue to use tvanta. Okay, so सः देवस्य पूजनात् पूर्वं स्नाति. So सा स्नाति, सा पूजयति. So devam pujayati. So sa devasya pujanat purvam. So pujanam pujanat. Okay, panchami. Purvam snati. Okay, so you see how it happens in let us study in Hindi or Kannada. So avalu devara poojeya modalu. So unfortunately in Kannada we still go shashti, poojeya modalu, because we are not switching to panchami sense there. Pujayinda modalu we don't say, poojeya modalu only we say. In Hindi how we go? वो I don't know how to say सा वो. Okay, वो देव का, so षष्ठी, no problem. पूजन के पूर्व, again we go षष्ठी also in Hindi, but in Sanskritam it is precise पूजनात् पूर्वम. Okay, पूजनात्, so panchami is used. So there is a subtle variation in mother tongue to Sanskritam usage of vibhakti. पूजन से पूर्व बोलते हैं क्या हिंदी में, पता नहीं, वो भी ठीक लगता है. तो पूजन से पूर्व भी ठीक लगता है, लेकिन शायद लोग पूजन का पूर्व ही ज्यादा बोलेंगे. मैं भी ऐसा, मुझे भाती ऐसा, पता नहीं, मैं तो हिंदी बेल्ट का नहीं हूँ. भगिनी मोनिका,
पूजा करने से पहले, पूजा से पहले.
से पहले, से इज व्हाट काइंड ऑफ विभक्ति? षष्ठी ओनली ना?
That I don't know. Yeah.
भगिनी.
Say gives the meaning of from only, sir. Say.
From. So that is then it belongs to Panchami sense, correct?
Yeah.
Then it's good in Hindi. You are having like Sanskritam, very good. Okay, we use Shashti like variation in Dravida Bhasha. No problem. Sajjanah nitehe upadeshat purvam swayam acharati. So a good fellow of the niti, upadeshat, from the upadesha, before himself he enacts. That means he teaches what he preaches, what he enacts, what he does. That kind of sense is there. So sajjanah आचरति, किम आचरति? नीतिम आचरति. तो तथैव नीतेः उपदेशात् पूर्वं स्वयं नीतिम आचरति. Like that. That's what सज्जनः स्वयं आचर्य नीतिम उपदिशति. So I just use this नीतिम as one karma of the second half, but it's obviously here also नीतेः. So here lyabanta form is used.
Mahodaya,
Yes,
one
Bhagini.
doubt. This nite, nitim means what? Means the meaning in English?
Niti means some kind of a dharmic rule of life.
Okay.
Okay.
And the same
Riti
way the
Niti
second
we
one,
say, no, Riti Niti means the way of life.
Okay.
Like, that.
Okay. And this shete, the second one, anantaram shete.
Shayanam. Shayanam dhatu is shete
Shete.
in lat ekavachana. Yeah, shete.
Okay.
That becomes Shayanam. Shayanam
Okay.
karoti.
Thank
We
you.
saw that earlier in
Shete.
Shayanam sense. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So karmakari patrasya prakshalanat purvam jalam sangrihnati. Okay, don't get confused by these kind of things. Practice to read this complex one. Sangrihnati, because they don't have stacking in the font. Nga got separated, but nga, ga, r, all three are there. There are two vyanjanas and one swara there. Nga, ga, and r. Okay, so sangrihnati or sangrihnati. Some people pronounce nahati or hanati. Both are okay for us, no problem. Okay, so what is this? Karmakari, the lady worker. Patrasya, of the vessel. Prakshalanat, from that washing. Purvam, before. So before from washing sense is there. Of course, Butler translation. Jalam sangrihnati, water she collects. She is implicit for me because Karmakari is there. So sangrihnati collects with her. Karmakari sangrihnati. Sangraham karoti. Okay, infinitive would have been easier. Sangraham karoti. Some places you can see the benefit of infinitives. But here the focus is on the infinitive nature of prakshalana rather than this. So that's why, though in the beginning they used snanam, they switched quickly track saying, okay, let's not use infinitive for the second half and confuse. Let's just stick to the infinitive forms in the first half, show the Panchami and the Shashti usage alongside Purvam and Anantaram respectively. Okay, that's the focus. Okay. So she collects water before she washes the vessel. So that you can say using different techniques in Sanskritam. Karmakari patrasya prakshalanaya jalam sangrihnati. See here the collection has happened correctly. So patrasya prakshalanaya, for the sake of prakshalana. So prakshalanam has been taken to a different vibhakti in this explanation. Or you can use artham technique also. Okay. So prakshalanartham. So the same, instead of vibhakti declension, we're using artha attachment, right? All other techniques are available for this infinitive also. But here continuing to use the infinitive here. So if you want to use tvanta, prakshalayitum, tumun would be fitting very correctly. Say karmakari patrasya patram prakshalayitum jalam sangrihnati. Tumun usage is correct. Then patram will go in karma position. So over time, you will get this understanding of how to fit the vibhaktis for this. That's why they're making you practice these things. So karyakramasya samaptehe anantaram janaha gachanti. Samaptihi becomes samaptehe. So samaptihi samapanam. Okay. So here samapanam, samapanasya would have been the form if we had used proper Ludanta, but they used a variant form samaptihi, which is also bhavadyotaka, and samaptehe. I need to, like I said, I got stumped by a couple of other usage like that, so we need to check. That's why I have it in purple. Okay. I have something more explanation here. Let's come there slowly. Okay. So so some lyabanta is easier. Karyakramam samapya janaha gachanti. Okay. So two ways of doing it. Vrishtehe agamanat purvam tvam griham gaccha. Of the rain, arrival, from arrival before. Okay. That means before the arrival of the rain is the Queen's translation. Tvam griham gaccha. You go to the house, go home. Okay. So वृष्टि का आगमन से पहले, समथिंग लाइक दैट, आप गृह को, गृह नहीं, स्यात्, जाओ, लाइक दैट. लेखन्याः क्रयणस्य अनन्तरं धनं देहि. सो प्रथमं लेखनं क्रीणातु, तदनन्तरं धनं ददातु. So lekanyah krayanasya. So of the lekani of the purchase, afterwards money you give. Okay. So lekanim kritva dhanam dehi. Tvanta is very straightforward. Okay. But lekani will go to karma position there. Phalasya khadanat purvam hastam kshalaya. So before the eating of the fruit, clean your hand. Okay. So hastam prakshalya phalam kadatu. Kshalayitva palam kadatu. One tvanta and one lyabanta because of pra upasarga. Okay. Devasya prarthanayaha anantaram saha gatavan. Okay. Prarthana iti strilinge. So pra plus root artha. Okay. And nich, lut, ana plus top. All that is involved in creating prarthana. So the lut is there, but S3 form has lut which changes to ana, and then top has been added, which is what makes it that. Okay, so there may be a path from Ludanta to the Stri form there, Prathana. Okay, that's what at least this explains to me. Okay, and the dhatu is arth. Okay, interesting. Okay, very quickly we'll just reread the sentences because there was so much interruption through the reading. Once let us just let it flow into our ears. Saha pustakasya patanasya anantaram snanam karoti. Saha grantasya parishilanasya anantaram shete. Sa devasya pujanat purvam snati. Sajjanah nitehe upadeshat purvam swayam acharati. कर्मकरी पात्रस्य प्रक्षालनात् पूर्वं जलं संगृह्णाति. कार्यक्रमस्य समाप्तेः अनन्तरं जनाः गच्छन्ति. वृष्टेः आगमनात् पूर्वं त्वं गृहं गच्छ. लेखन्याः क्रयणस्य अनन्तरं धनं देहि. फलस्य खादनात् पूर्वं हस्तं क्षालय. देवस्य प्रार्थनायाः अनन्तरं सः गतवान्. सो पठनस्य अनन्तरं परिशीलनस्य अनन्तरं. I don't know why they highlighted the karma. I would have highlighted the ludanta everywhere. It's okay. We know what to highlight. Pathanasya anantaram, parishilanasya anantaram, pujanat purvam, upadeshat purvam, prakshalanat purvam, samaptehe anantaram. Shashti again. Agamanat purvam, panchami. क्रयणस्य अनन्तरं षष्ठी. खादनात् पूर्वं पंचमी. प्रार्थनायाः अनन्तरं षष्ठी. प्रार्थनात् पूर्वं प्रार्थनायाः अनन्तरं. गुड वे टू प्रैक्टिस इज दैट. पठनात् पूर्वं पठनस्य अनन्तरं. परिशीलनात् पूर्वं परिशीलनस्य अनन्तरं. बेटर वे टू practice this as pairs. Okay, all right. Any questions? Bagini?
I don't know. I'll have to reread it and understand. Over here, it is written in case of Purvam, the karma pad gets shashti. So and bhav dhyotak words panchami. So
yeah, that's why the bhavadyotaka words should have been highlighted everywhere. They have simply highlighted the karma pada everywhere. The focus is not the karma pada here. Focus is actually the ludanta.
okay.
Right. So the highlight is incorrect. That's what I just highlighted to you guys. But in a couple of places, at least I have highlighted the ludanta where there was a slightly different form. But everywhere else also technically patanasya, parishilanasya, these are the ludantas. Pustaka happens to be a karma also in Shashti. We know that we already learnt that earlier. So nothing new we learnt there about karma pada. So here we are learning about this anantara business and purva business, and the focus should be the ludantas vibhakti changing. Okay. All right. Everywhere the karma pada is in Shashti. What is varying there? Nothing. Pustakasya, Grantasya, Devasya, Nitehe, Patrasya. Everything is Shashti for the karma pada. No problem. Because it is associated with the Ludanta, it is in Shashti. That is nothing new. But the Ludanta is taking Shashti and Panchami. Shashti with Anantaram and Panchami with Purvam. Because the finished action is there for the action to be finished is there as a kind of purvam association. So upadeshat purvam, than that, before from that is the sense. After of that is the sense of shashti. After of that, patanasya anantaram. Then patanat purvam. So just if you mug up as pairs is enough. All the rest of the sentence you can construct what you want. Patanasya anantaram patanat purvam is the focus area. Okay, so if I have to highlight here, just this is enough.
And sir, that akarantak ending na prarthana, prarthanayah, prarthana, both fifth and sixth shakti becomes the same. Prarthanayah, prarthanayah. Anantaram or
One more.
purvam.
I'm just let me finish this and then I
Yeah.
will come to you. Okay. All right. So what was your question, sir?
I was just saying that because Panchami and Shashti for words ending in akarantak, prarthanayah, there is no change in at and asya, as in the previous.
I agree with you. I agree with you that sometimes the Panchami form and the Shashti form, especially in Strilinga, collide. Correct.
Correct.
Now I understand. Yeah. But here Anantaram is there, so we read it as Shashti.
Yeah, that's Shashti, correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, mentally it is Shashti for us because that is the technique with Anantar.
Correct.
Good point. Okay, so we will take a break now. It's a nice point to break. Our 12 o'clock midday meal scheme is there. So you can take your water meal or water break and come back in 3 minutes, 12:05. Okay, all right. So please join back in 3 minutes. Stay connected. Don't disconnect. Welcome back. Okay. Jyoti Prakash Varye.
Mahoday.
So now we are going to learn about Shashti Vibhakti forms. Not that we haven't learned. We have, just now we used aplenty. Historically also we have been using, but the focus is today that. So they are going to teach us with lots of examples the context under which Shashti fits nicely. And we also learn a bit more about how Shashti forms of different types of words look in Pullinga, Napumsaka, Strilinga, etc. So that's the point of the exercise today. As you know, we have been moving through the lessons from, Prathama Vibhakti is there always, Dvitiya, Tritiya, like that. Today's turn is Shashti. Okay, because Saptami is the last one and Saptami belongs to the 10th lesson. Shashti has conveniently come in the 9th lesson. Okay, so Bhagini, Jyoti Bhagini is going to throw light for us as per her name. Continue, Bhagini.
Shashti Vibhaktihi. Genitive case sentences. Suryasya udayaha bhavati. The sunrise occurs.
Bhagini, it is, did you realize your name is so conveniently, you are so well married? Jyoti Prakash, wow. There is 100%
Yes,
matching.
yes, all tell that. Nadyaha jalam pravahati. The water of a river flows. Taroho parnani dirghani. The leaves of the tree are long. Guroho putraha pathati. Teacher's son reads. Chandrikayaha dhavalata shobhate. The brightness of moonlight is nice. Buddhehe tikshnatam pashya. Look at the sharpness of mind. Agnehe jwala rakta. The flame of fire is red.
Okay,
Atithehe
just let us pause here. Just a 7 sentence. Let's just take a summary view. So everywhere, something of something else is being referred. Something of something else. So whenever we refer to something of something else, that else part is the possessor, right? So Udaya of Surya, Jala of Nadi, Parna of Taru, Putra of Guru. Okay, Dhavalata of Chandrika. Like this we are going. So this of Chandrika, of Surya, etc. Suryasya, Nadyaha, Taroho, Guroho, Chandrikayaha. So many variants. See, Suryaha Akaranta Pullinga Shabdaha. Tutsa Ramasyavat Suryasya Bhavati. Nadi Ikaranta Strilinga Shabdaha. Nadyaha iti Bhavati. Okay. Taruhu Ukaranta Pullinga. Taroho iti bhavati. Vrikshah itivat. Vrikshah itivat eva taruhu iti. Vrikshah iti akaranta pullinga padam. Tu taruhu iti ukaranta pullinga padam. Dvayorapi samanartakaha. Vrikshah, taruhu, padapah. Padapah is another beautiful name for tree. What a lovely name, I'll tell you. Every name is meaningful, of course. But Padapa is very interesting. Okay. So since the tree drinks from the water, so Padapaha. So Pati, Padam Upayji, only 1 feet, other than one of the trees which has hundreds of feet. So Padam Upayujya Pati Jalam iti Pibati Jalam iti Padapa. What a name. Nobody can engineer names like in Sanskrit. So this is what Bhagini has read so far, similar to that nature, the Jwala of Agni, the sharpness of mind, the whiteness of brightness, okay, brightness of moonlight, etc. So yeah, the
Mahoday,
possession need not be a part, possession can be the quality of the other also. Okay, continue Bhagini.
Mahoday, I have a query.
Please ask your query.
Over here, like taroh paranani dirghani. So taro means bahuvachan.
No, Taroho is Ekavachanam, Shashti. Okay.
एक वचन. अच्छा.
हाँ,
Okay.
तरोह तर्वोह तरूणाम गुरोह गुर्वोह
हाँ, अच्छा,
गुरूणाम.
तरो is
हाँ,
एक वचन. जी.
एकवचन. तरूणाम would be बहुवचन.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Parnani is Napumsaka Bahuvachana. Dirghani is the qualifier carrying the Napumsakatva. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Atithehe agamanam bhavati. The arrival of guest occurs. The guest arrives.
See here now what has
Eka
happened. Just sorry, to cut in. So agamanam. See now we have the anam. So that means we have an infinitive. So this is just we learned plenty examples of shashti usage with infinitive. One example starts here. Atitehe agamanam bhavishyati. Till now there was not infinitive. There was a quality sense. Udaya, jala, or some object sense. Okay. Here for once now we get this infinitive sense. Okay. So this infinity now becomes possessed of that person. So the arrival is of the Atiti. So he goes to Shashti. Atitehe agamanam, like that. Continue, Bhagini.
etani narinam abharanani. These are the ornaments of ladies. Bandhunam grihani vishalani. The houses of relatives are big.
So now what Samskrita Bharati has done, up to 8th sentence they stuck to Ekavachana. Okay, up to sentence 8 was Ekavachana. There was subtle quality difference in the Shashti, but both all are simple possession case finally. But here now they switch to Bahuvachana forms. As usual, their trait is to teach Ekavachanas, generally starting with Pullinga, switching to Strilinga. So if you see, no, Surya, Nadi is Strilinga, I think, right? It came early anyway. So, but some others are Strilinga. Chandrika, Buddhihi, Agnihi, Pullinga, Atitihi, Pullinga. So, there is a mixture of Stri and Pullinga there. Now they are switching to Bahuvachana forms. So, Bagini read Narinam, of the ladies, Bandhunam, of the relatives, etc. So, just repeat the last sentence you read and continue, Bagini. Sorry for butting in like I did.
Okay. Bandhunam grihani vishalani. The houses of relatives are big.
Always, no?
Jana
Our house is always small, relatives' house are always big. So they are stating a fact. Continue, Bhagini.
Janaha ravehe udayam pashyanti. People watch the sunrise. Devanam guruhu brihaspatihi. Brihaspati is the teacher of gods.
Who is the teacher of
Shukra
Danavas, Bhagini? Do you know?
Shukracharya. The next sentence.
Shukracharya. Oh, it is there. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Shukracharyasya shishyaha asuraha. Shukracharya's disciples are demons.
Okay, the direction changed.
Vapya
Earlier, Brihaspati was the object. Here, Shukracharya is the possessor of Shishya. Okay, reverse direction. Okay, interesting. Continue.
Vapyaha jalam sheetalam. Well water is cold.
So Vapi Shabda. Vapyaha. Vapi ityasya Vapyaha.
Ushnodagasya panam arogyaya. Drinking hot water is healthy. Ushnodagasya.
So Panam again Anam. So again it is an infinitive Bhavadyotaka Ludanta. So Ushna Udaka. Udaka is water. Ushnodaka is hot water. Ushnodakasya Udakasya. Okay. Udakam Napumsake Udakasya. Continue, Bhagini.
Pandoho putraha Dharmarajaha. Dharmaraja was Pandu's son. Kuntya putraha Karnaha. Karna was Kunti's son.
Okay, here the was is just implied. There is nothing to say was he is, but since it is all was, they used was. Okay, so asit has been assumed. Okay, continue, Bhagini.
Girinam Shikharani Ramyani. The peaks of mountains are beautiful. Kavehe Padyani Ramaniyani. The poems of a poet are beautiful. Abhimanyoho Pautraha Janamejayaha. Janamejaya was the grandson of Abhimanyu.
Oh, the only single lineage of the Pandava clan that remained. the sad Shapa of Draupadi. Only one lineage remained of her entire Santana. Continue, Bhagini.
Parvatyaः putraः Ganapatiः. Ganapati is Parvati's son.
By the way, actually,
Ganapati
Abhimanyu was Arjuna's son, not even from
Panchali.
Draupadi. Sad for Panchali, na? I feel bad for her. Anyway.
Ganapateः चत्वारः हस्ताः. Ganapati has 4 hands. Pandavanam Dharmarajah Shresthaha. Dharmaraja is the best among Pandavas. Chhatranam Balikaha Buddhimatyaha. Among students, girls are intelligent. Vrikshanam Narikelaha Shresthaha. Coconut tree is the best among trees.
So number 24 is applying to our class. They are dominating our class as well as they are the smart ones in our class. I'm sure none of us gentlemen have any objection to that sentence. Okay. So vrikshanam narikelaha shreshtaha. See now there is a subtle quality difference. You see this shreshtaha, buddhimatyaha, shreshtaha. So wherever some comparison is being done, right? Then also when one is being pulled out from the rest and indicated as superior, inferior, whatever, right? That kind of thing also Shashti Vibhakti is very useful. That is the reason why these sentences have come. Pandavanam Dharmaraja Shreshtaha. So of the Pandavas, Dharmaraja is superior, like that. Of the Pandavas sense. Okay. Actually, there is another sense in English, right? Amongst the Pandavas, Dharmaraja is superior. That is also correct in a sense, because also from Sanskrit grammar we learn Pandaveshu Dharmaraja Shrestha can also be used. Okay, I mean the languages have common sense in how they use the vibhaktis there. So Pandavara Dharmarajanu Shrestha. We don't use it like that in Kannada, but Pandavaralli we use Saptami in Kannada. Pandavaralli Dharmarajanu Shreshtanu. Right? That. But Pandavara Dharmarajanu Shreshtanu also we use in a sense, but not so often. So that technique. Pandavanam Dharmarajaha Shresthaha. So of the Pandavas, Dharmaraja is the superior one, pulling one out of many sense in Shashti. Okay, that is there in Saptami also, that sense. So that was the thing. So vrikshanam narikelaha shresthaha. So the narikela vrikshaha shresthaha is the how we so the of the trees, the coconut tree is superior. There is this popular saying, no, every piece of the coconut tree is precious. From birth till death it gives, right? So in fact we call it there is a name given to this vriksha. I forget it now.
Mahoday, is it the banana tree or the coconut tree?
Narikela palam is coconut.
No.
Banana is no. Narikela tree also everything is useful. Bagini. Today we are replacing with concrete. If you go to
Okay.
old houses, the
Yeah.
trunk of the narikela was very critical in construction because it was the only long ready-made as a pillar-like object available.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Kalpa vriksha, correct. That is the name that is there for this. Gives and gives and gives. So we learned lot of sentences with subtle variations of Shashti usage. So we saw a comparative type of pulling one out of many type of usage, and then we saw, of course, very more clear cases of relationship. So here they have summarized some declensions. As I have always told you, this kind of table is less useful than practicing the standard set of 7 by 3 or even 8 by 3 tables that we know. Okay, but they have collected and given, so I don't I want to show it. So but anyway, let us read this set. It's easier to read like this. So Rama shabdasya Ramasya Ramayoho Ramanam iti bhavati. So I forgot to thank Bhagini. Thank you, Bhagini. Sita Sitayaha Sitayoho Sitanam. See the hrisva. Sitayoho, not Sitayoho. Be very careful with this. Okay. Sitayaha Sitayoho Sitanam. Okay. Vanasya, Vanayoho, Vananam. Just like Rama Shabda, Vana Shabda. Okay. Napumsaka after third vibhakti onwards tracks the pullinga. Hari, Ikaranta pullinga. Harehe, Haryoho, Harinam. Okay. So Mati, Ikaranta strilinga. Matehe, Matyoho, Matinam. Quite a bit of track with Hari. Okay. Then Dadhi, Ikaranta Napumsaka. Quite different. Dadnaha, Dadnoho, Dadnam. Okay. So the Nakara joins right here in Dadnam. So not Dadhinam or something like that. Because if you see Mati, we are tempted to say Dadhehe, Dadyoho, Dadhinam, complete stump. Okay. So Dadyoho is not there. Dadnoho is there. Dadnehe is not there. Dadnaha is there. Dadhinam is not there. Dadnam is there. So we have to be very cautious with the more complex napumsakas also a little bit. Dadnaha, Dadnoho, Dadnam. Okay. Guruhu, Guroho, Gurvoho, Gurunam. Dadi is there here also. Takaranta. No, they didn't give that. Madhu, here, Dadnaha, Dadnam. They have given. I'm sorry. They have given. I have used the very same. So, Guroho, Gurvoho, Gurunam. Okay. So, pretty straightforward. So, Denu, Denoho, Denvoho, Denunam. Luckily, again, Strilinga tracking alongside Pullinga. Not very difficult. Of course, yeah, I think Gurvoho, Denvoho. Yeah, sounds fine. Where Repa was there, here Nakara is there. That's all. Okay. Then Madhu, Madhunaha, Madhunoho, Madhunam. Here it is tracking a little bit. Denunam, Madhunam, Denvoho, Madhunoho. Some track is there. Madhunaha is different, more like Dadnaha. Okay. Then that is Napumsaka Madhu Shabda. Then Tad, E, Asmad, Yushmad. Tasya Tayoho Tesham. Also in Napumsaka the same. Tasyaha Tayoho Tasam in Strilinga. Then Asmad is Mama Avayoho Asmakam. Then Tava Yuvayoho Yushmakam. So of you, of the two of you, of the all of you, of me, of the two of us, and of all of us. Asmakam Kakshya Prachalati. Our class proceeds. This kind of usage. Okay. What are we doing? How are we doing on time? We are doing pretty nice. So some rules of the genitive case. So always we should learn the summary along with the sentences. We should never split it. So we'll finish learning this. So this is basically gathering the classification of where genitive case is becoming useful or Shashti Vibhakti is becoming useful. Okay. See, this genitive is coming from Janita. Samskritam word. The response for questions like whose, of which, are, his, their, of them. So kasya, then tasya, etasya, tasyaha, tesham, these kind of answers. This reply will be given in genitive case. Guroho putraha, teacher's son. Whose son? Kasya putraha, guroho putraha. Saha kasya putraha, saha guroho putraha. Bharatah kasyaha putraha, saha कैकेय्याः पुत्रः. एषः भरतः, रामायणस्य भरतः. महाभारतस्य भरतः शकुन्तलायाः पुत्रः इति अस्माभिः ज्ञातमपि, प्रायः ज्ञायते अग्रे किमपि स्यात्. तो कैकेय्याः पुत्रः. So she has slight varying names available. Kaikeyi, 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 double ya. I mean, no, double ya comes from yaha. I think Kaikeyaha putra. Astu. Hastinapurah kesham rajadhani. Hastinapurah kurunam rajadhani. Kuru vamshiyanam, kurunam. Some Maharaja Kuru was there long ago. That vamsha. So kurunam rajadhani. Genitive case is used. So the first one was simple, belonging to whom sense. Nothing very straightforward use of the Shashti, and most probably 90+% belongs there. Genitive case is used for words meaning among these. Normally we use Saptami, no? Among is the sense of the mean. So of these sense is there in maybe in the sense of these rather than among these. Okay. Pandavanam Dharmaraja Jyeshtah. Dharmaraja is the eldest among Pandavas. You can actually write in English without apabhramsha of the Pandavas. It will quite well be understood also. Pandavanam or Pandaveshu. See, Saptami Bahuvachan also is possible. Kah Jyeshtah Pandavanam Yudhishthirah Jyeshtah. Pandaveshu Yudhishthirah Jyeshtah. Pativratanam Pativratasu. का श्रेष्ठा पतिव्रतानां सीता सीतया सीतायाः सीतयोः सीतानां करेक्ट पतिव्रता सो पतिव्रतानां पतिव्रतासु एकैका अपि श्रेष्ठा सो एका एका एकैका वृद्धि संधि सो एवरीवन इज श्रेष्ठा नो डिस्टिंक्शन okay all of them have suffered poor ladies okay. So what is this interesting picture? You see the artist, what a lovely picture, right? This is the Pandavas in a tree farm, right? Yudhishthira is the one who's standing with his hand spread like that. Nakula and Sahadeva are there on his bhuja, you can say. Then there is Krishna, who is really like the root for them. So all the Sara coming to the tree is from Krishna. Oh, what a beautiful depiction. Then we see, I guess, Bhima and then Arjuna. We don't know in what order because there is a little bit like an arrow here. I think that is Arjuna and this is Bhima. But we can take, yeah, I guess this is Bhima. Arjuna has a little more up-twirled mustache. And you see the Dhanush, you see the lovely way in which that, yeah. So I am mesmerized by how artists think of these things. So there is a verse that goes with this. Okay, this artist has not just painted it, he has actually picked up the clue from a historic verse about these Pandavas. Yudhishthiro Dharmamayo Mahadrumaha. Drumaha is another name for tree. Okay. Skandhorjuno Bhimaseno Syashakaha Madri Sutau Pushpaphale Samruddhe Moolam Krishno Brahmacha Brahmanascha. Okay. So you see all these roots are shown as various people deposing, right? You see, if you see Sashtanga Namaskara of various people. So those are the Brahmanas. Krishna is like the Brahma. Okay. And Madri Sutau, which is basically Nakula Sahadevau, children of Madri. Pushpapale Samruddhe Moolam. So Samruddhe Moolam, Pushpapale Samruddhe is for Madri Sutau, all in Dvivachana. Moolam Krishna. So Krishna is the one that's it. And then before that, Bhimasenaha Asya Shakaha. So Bhimasena is said to be the branches of this. So probably this is Bhimasena. Okay. So I took that as Yudhishthira somehow, but that is Bhimasena. Of course, Bhimakaya is his. So Bhimasena is the branches. Then Skandaha Arjunaha. Skanda is the waist or probably the stem. Okay. So that is Arjuna shown there. And they are Bhuja. Skanda is Bhuja. No? So this is shown a little bit like that. And then Dharmamayo Mahadrumaha Yudhishthira. So the entire thing represents Yudhishthira in a sense. But I guess in this picture now then, this must be Yudhishthira. Okay, just behind Krishna. So it's in the correct order, right? No, not exactly. Bhima has come afterwards, but it's okay. Very interesting. So it goes Krishna, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula Sahadeva. Interesting. But this verse is lovely. Yudhishthiro Dharmamayo Mahadrumaha Skandorjuno Bhimasenosya Shakaha Madri Sutau Pushpapale Samruddhe Moolam Krishno Brahmacha Brahmanascha. Okay. Some abhyasas are there. Let's try a little bit before we call it a day. So crowdsource some answer. So now this is the Tumun section. Okay. Use Tumun ending words instead of the dative case. Dative case being the dana receiver, right? Gamanaya. So ending words. So saha gamanaya gantum ichati. So the answer is gantum. Hmm. So for the sake of reading he went, but for the sake using tumun. Ramah patanaya dash gatavan.
Patitum.
Patitum gatavan. Very good. Patitum gatavan. They have already given the big clue tumun. So very easy. Chhatraha lekhanaya dash ichha. Ichhati is incorrect. Ichhati.
Lekhitum.
Lekhitum.
Likitum.
Lekhitum, not lekhitum.
Lekhitum.
Standard error that will happen. Likhitum. Lekhitum.
Lekhitum.
Likhitum, na? I
Lekhitum.
have to cross check. 1 second. Stand by. Likh dhatu. Have the ready available dhatu. Likh dhatu.
Already they are given in the examples, I think, earlier.
Pradanta. It was lekhitum. Tumun correct. Likhitum is
Yes.
incorrect. So I was totally misled. Sorry. Lekhitum is correct. So I have to hammer my head. Okay. If you end up writing likhitum, it's not disaster, but lekhitum. All right. Okay. Aham prashnaya dash ichhami.
Prashnitum.
Prushtam.
Prashtum.
Prashtum.
Bagini last got it.
Prashtum.
Prashtum.
Pashtum.
Okay.
Pashtum.
Prashtum was not too bad, but prashtum. Okay. Prashtum. So aham prashtum ichhami. I would like to ask. Balaha creed pravruttaha.
Kreditum.
Kreditum.
Creeditum.
Kreditum.
Creeditum. So what you guys do now, take out this vibhakti and take the dhatu form, then it comes easy. Okay. Gamanam, gamanaya. So gam. So gantum. Pathanaya, pathitum. Lekhanaya, likh. But changes to lekhitum. Okay, we have to be aware. Prashnaya, prash. I think prasht. I think remember it as prasht. So then prashtum. Then kridanaya, kriditum. Like darshanaya, pash.
Darshitum.
Prashtum.
Darshit.
Darshitum.
Drashtum.
Drishtam.
Drishtum.
Prashtum.
Drashtum. To see.
Drishtam.
Darshitum is the sense of to show. Okay. Drashtum is to see. Okay. Uh, that's Nich takes the darshitum. So aham shravanaya udyuktaha.
Shrotum.
Shrotum. Shrotum.
Shrotum.
Shrotum udyuktaha. To listen, I am engaged. I
Prayanaya.
am engaged in, focused in listening. So saha kr vipanim gataha.
Prayanami.
Kreditum. Kreditum.
Kreditum.
Kretum, probably kretum. Krinitum we have heard. I think kretum. Yeah, see kretum.
Pretum.
Kretum vipanim gataha. Sa ganaya vedikam arohati.
Gatum.
Gatum.
Gatum. Gatum. Gai dhatu gatum. Okay. So patitum, lekhitum, this was a stumper. Prashtum, kriditum, drashtum, shrotum, kretum, gatum. Okay. Good. So let's try a little bit more. At least this slide we can finish and start with the 12th slide tomorrow. Purvam anantaram technique, right? Ramaha palam kadati griham gachati. Palasya kadanasya anantaram griham gachati. Okay. So Ramaha grihasya gamanat purvam palam kadati. So we have to reverse and say both forms. So first he eats, then he goes home. So Ramaha palasya kadanasya anantaram griham gachati, or Ramaha grihasya gamanat purvam phalam kadati. Both sense. Okay. So it's a good exercise. Really, I like this type of exercise. So harihi bhaktam pashyati varam dadati. So let's call someone because this one is not good for crowdsourcing. Let me. Oh, I will mute everyone. Call one or two people to help us with this. Monica Variye, if you can unmute for us.
Ji Mahodaya.
Mahodaya. So for this pair, Harihi Bhaktam Pashyati Varam Dadati. Can you say it in this Anantaram Purvam business? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try. Harihi bhaktasya
Darshanam. Darshanam is the
darshan
word.
drishyat
Darshanasya.
darshanasya anantaram
Hmm.
varam dadati.
Varam Dada. That part remains straightforward now. Okay. So Harihi Bhaktasya Bhaktasya darshanasya anantaram varam dadati. You have to go. He won't grace you otherwise, is the statement. Okay, now the reverse way.
Harihi varasya dadati is das.
Danam is the infinitive.
Danasya.
But here purvam is there, so we have to go panchami bagini.
Okay. Danat purvam.
Ah, you got it. Danat purvam.
Purvam. Griham. Oh, bhaktam pashyati.
Ah, bhaktam pashyati griham gachati. If he goes home, we are all lost. Anyway, harihi varam varasya danat purvam bhaktam pashyati. Saha agachati va na va iti. Thank you, Bhagini. Well done. Good exercise. So, bhaktasya darshanasya anantaram varam dadati. Varasya danat purvam bhaktam pashyati. It's a good exercise. I like these type of exercise. Lot more colorful effort from us than this straightforward stuff. Though we are stumped even there. It's like a lifelong of learning. No problem. Let us call upon Balwant Surti Varya. If you can help us out. Varya, version for you.
Guruhu yogyatam parishilyati nitim bodhyati. Guruhu yogyataya. Okay.
Correct. You are getting there. Yogyata yaha. Okay. Shashti. Yogyata yaha.
Yogyatayaha parishilanasya.
Correct.
Okay.
Yogyatayaha parishilanasya. One was tri, one was pum. Okay. So Guruhu yogyatayaha parishilanasya anantaram
nitim bodhayati.
Very well done. Yogyatayaha parishilanasya anantaram nitim bodhayati. Now the reverse way.
Gurum nitim will be nitehe or something.
Very good. Nitehe. Wonderful.
Nitehe bodhayat.
No. Bodhanam.
Bodhanat.
Bodhanat. You got it 100%. Nitehe bodhanat purvam. Now copy the first sentence.
Yogyatam parishilyati.
Parishilayati. That's all. First sentence copycats. Yogyatam parishilayati. Well, okay. Very, very nicely done, Varya. That was a little tough declension, one or two you got there. You got it right. Thank you. So now Rupa Jhadav Varya. Let's get some youngsters into action. Bhagini. We didn't hear.
वृष्टिम् अवलोकते छत्र प्रसारयति.
So she sees the rain and she opens the umbrella. Our Geeta here, cute girl. Continue, Bhagini. Now try to answer this with this Anantaram Purvam business.
Geetaha.
No, Geeta only. One Geeta.
Geeta. Vrishte.
Very good. Vrishte. Very good. Vrishte.
Avlokanasya.
Very good. Vrishte avalokanasya. Avalokanam. So see that prakriya. Vrishtihi, vrishte. Okay. Then avalokanam. First we have to take it to the anam form. Right? Lyudanta. So avalokanasya. So very well done. Vrishte avalokanasya anantaram. Now easy part.
Chatram prasarayati.
Prasarayati. Okay. Chatram prasarayati. And now second version.
Geeta. Chatrasya.
Not chatra. Chatra is the one with the chatra. We are the chatras. Chatra is just this umbrella.
Geeta chatrasya. Prasarat purva.
Very good. Prasaranat. Probably. Prasaranat purvam. Prasaranam, anam, prasaranam. Ra is there, so na will happen instead of na. So prasaranam becomes prasaranat. Purvam. Kim?
Prishtim avalokete.
Avalokate, not kyate, avalokate. Okay, Bhagini?
Yeah.
Okay, well done, Bhagini. Gita Chhatrasya Prasaranat Purvam Vrishtim Avalokate. So first go infinitive. Avalokate, Avalokanam, Avalokanasya, Avalokanat. Prasarayati, Prasaranam, Prasaranat, Prasaranasya. Okay, of course, we don't need Prasaranasya for the way it is stacked, but just to learn the Shashti and Panchami. Okay, so you guys, I think, getting the hang of this now. So let us see how the students will carry on with this. Trupti Varye, how can we be happy without you helping us? Trupti Varye, can you come in?
Yes, sir.
E for you.
Chhatrah vakyam smrati uttaram likhati. Chhatrah vakanasya vakyasya
Smarati becomes how in with anam?
Smarati
Smaranam, simple. Smaranam. So that you now take to Shashti. Smaranasya, correct? You are getting there slowly. See, Vakyasya Smaranasya. Vakyasya Smaranasya Anantaram.
Anantaram uttaram likhati.
Uttaram likati. Now reverse the order. Thank
you. Chhatrah uttarasya likhanayah.
No. Lekhanam. Okay. Lekhanam is the anam version of the likhati. So
lekhanata.
Lekhanat. Don't make it akaranta. Lekhanat.
Lekhanat
purvam.
Vakyam smrati.
Correct. Vakyam smarati. You get the hang of it. That's why I'm making a rotation of you practice this so that you get the hang of this. Until you jump into the fray and burn your fingers, learning won't happen. Okay. Burn your fingers in a simile sense, not in a literal sense. Truptaha smaha Bhagini. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you.
So now Vasuki Varya is there today. So let's her get the last word.
Mata tandulam shalayati. Annam karoti. Mata tandulasya shalayasya.
No. Anam has
shalanasya.
Kshalanasya. Very good.
Shalanasya. Anantaram annam karoti.
Correct.
Mata anamasya.
Annasya. No, anam. Annasya.
Okay. Annasya. Karoti will become.
How will be infinitive of karoti? Kru dhatu. Karanam.
Okay.
Karanam.
Mata anasya karanam.
Annasya karanam. Annasya what vibhakti? Purvam mandates karanam to go to Panchami. So you have to say Panchami of karanam. What is that?
Karunat.
Karanat, not Karona.
Karanat, sorry.
Don't even say that word. Okay. Mata Annasya Karanat Purvam.
Purvam Tandulam Shalayati.
Tandulam Shalayati. Okay. So good learning. This practice I liked it. it's much more intense than the earlier ones because a little bit of work is there from us. Okay, so with this we will call it a day today, and let us gather back at 11 o'clock tomorrow and continue our close out of the 9th lesson and potential entry into the 10th. And by the month end weekend, by the month end weekend, we should probably complete the 10th lesson largely. So one more weekend we will additionally require into the August, around I think 6th, 7th time frame, I guess it comes, where we will do a grand question paper review and potentially some grammar point review also. The second level book's first chapter contains a very good summary of the grammar points of this level. So all the Pravesha level grammar points are beautifully summarized in the Parichaya first pata. Okay, so I will take advantage of that text book to read the summary of what we learned in the entire grammar steps we took in these 10 lessons. Okay, so we look forward to the next 2 weekends. And one more appeal to you guys, some Samskritam week is coming. So please try to encourage. One way that we can help Samskritam is to help the number of us who can speak it, talk to it and read it, etc., and learn from it. So please spread the thing, saying, you know, everywhere where there's an opportunity, say, hey, I am learning Samskritam, and share your experience, your truthful experience. Our truthful experience is always great, I'm pretty sure. So that they are also induced, prachoditaha bhaveyuhu, protsahitaha bhaveyuhu iti mama asha. एवम् अस्तु तर्हि मिलामः श्वः प्रार्थनया समाप्तिघोषणं करोमि. प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा?
Sir, has the date come, the exam date?
Yes, last Sunday of August beginning.
Okay, thank you.
About a month and 1 week away now. I think around 27th, 28th is whatever is the Sunday, it will come there. Okay?
28th,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir, we have received an email, sir. We have received an
We
email.
have got the email.
You got the email. Excellent. Okay.
So
Super.
one thing, sir, one question. The last one. Mata Tandulang Shalayati Annam Karoti. This first one is Mata Tandulasya Shalana. Then Shalanasya. Shala or Shala?
Kshalanasya anantaram.
Yeah. And the second one is Annasya Shalayat.
No. Annasya kshalanat purvam na. Annasya karanat purvam tandulam kshalayati. Karanat, to before doing. See, karanam is the infinitive form of kru dhatu.
Yes, sir. Actually, I can't see. There is a bar here. I can't
Oh,
see
sorry.
the sentence.
I'm sorry. I think you are using a computer, Bhagini?
Yes, I am laptop. Yes.
Oh, laptop. Then what you should do is you should go to the bottom panel and say pop up only when needed. Ask your husband or son to set it such that it is not popped up always. Okay. Only when you take your mouse down, it should pop up. That's what I do in my screen. Otherwise, it takes away 5% of the screen for nothing. Okay.
Yes.
The taskbar can be made to auto hide. Auto hide feature is there in Google.
Okay.
So let us pray. Sahana vavatu sahanau bunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om shanti Harihi Om. Punah milamah tarhi. Namah sarvebhyah.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
धन्यवाद.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
धन्यवादः.